Hello everybody, this is Wukepedia, and I recently played Darkness Falls mod pack on Alpha 18.5, and I'm looking to do a little bit of a review for you guys. There's a lot of interest going out right now in the game, and I wanted to give my take on it and give a little note to the editor if he ever decides to watch this. So, got to list a few things I want to talk about. The big thing with Darkness Falls that was a draw for me was that there was a class system involved. And with those classes, they introduce a diversity in the choices that you end up having to make. So you can look at the classes here, and this is like there's two lists of perks here that everybody has available to them, but then there's certain things that are gated behind the classes, and this makes for really interesting choices when you first start out, depending on how you'd like to play, and also who you're willing to play with and what they would like to play. It really added a lot of decision making, and that's one of the better things I think in a mod. It also broke a little bit of the balance that's in Alpha 18 currently. So there's a few things I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of Alpha 16 talents that they brought back, and some of the talents are actually double dipped on, and some of the talents have hidden perks behind them when you earn them. So in Alpha 16, you would earn a skill by doing that thing. So it looks like archery. As you do archery, you get better at archery. And this is a thing that you can't put points into, but you level up as you go. But then as you level that up, you can put additional points into here, and that improves that skill after you've already been doing it. And I actually kind of liked that synergy because I missed the old Alpha 16 skill system. But I think it is a decent addition to Alpha 18, or I guess re-edition. And I don't know, it was pretty fun. Like we had a lot of fun with this mod pack. We played for about 3 weeks. We're on day 93. I probably put in 200, 300 hours into it, and it was a lot of fun. I started out as a farmer. Food was never really a problem. It was pretty easy, actually. And I had a laborer and a mechanic with me to start out with. So we had the forges and everything and the mechanic. I've been doing it mostly on Twitch, just doing a YouTube video for the review. So the big other thing with this is there's NPCs, classes, and demons. So these guys out here, they're actually the ones that are on fire. There's like some mutated guys. They're demons. So instead of just being a zombie that's on fire, they actually have like a heal over time. Let's see if I can get one's attention here. And then that's actually a boss there. So that's an incubus, and he heals for about 2,000 HP a second. They all have ranged attacks and whatnot. But, yeah, so I shot that guy, and you see his health go right back up to full. He's already back at full health, so I did about 300 damage to him. And so they heal for about 200 HP a second. Or 1 to 200, I'm not exactly sure. So they're basically just enhanced radiated, and then the bosses are about 2,000 HP a second when they actually turn their healing on. He's only getting about 200, but... anyway, there's a lot of interesting things out here, and they destroyed their own portal. I was going to show you this thing. A friend of mine thought that it was a graphical glitch when he first saw it. I'm going to see if I can find one. And ended up being something that's actually added into the game. Another thing I want to talk about is farming. They drastically changed farming, so you have to have water sources nearby. And they gave you rain barrels, but rain barrels are kind of weird. They like to break themselves, and they like to produce too much water or not enough. My recommendation for farming is do it small, use a rain barrel, and keep the water in a contained area, kind of. And they brought hoeing back, like with tills and stuff like that. The demons you've seen, obviously. There's a technology tier, so there's a second perk system that everybody has access to after you reach level 125. And it actually is gated behind a book. And you have to make this book with rare pages that you find out through the world through like zombie loot and whatnot. Here's a portal. Here we go. So this is a demon portal. The first time you see this is in 7 Days to Die. And they like to spawn around it usually. Yeah, there's a couple spawning. You'll end up finding bosses and stuff around it. They spawn around you really quickly. This mod has a lot of zombie density around you. Very cool. I'm not going to spoil anything with this on what to do with it. You guys can figure that out for yourself. But then we've got those decisions to make in the tech tree are really cool. So if you go into here, once you're level 125, you can unlock it with the book. And you actually have to choose between biological boosts and technological boosts. You can't do, so like, it requires no bio boosts. So I chose to go biological, and I'm a little tougher. I run a little quite a bit faster, and I have some disease immunity. And then the technology boost is a drastic increase in HP, some stamina regen and more stamina total, and then also a huge health regeneration buff that happens after you take damage. So you have to choose between these two different playstyles because you can't do both. Like, you could technically respec, but it's really expensive to put these points in because they're actually from another system in the game that I'm not going to give away. But it took a very long time to get up to that point. Save your steroids. But there's a lot of new zombies. There's some non-player characters. So there's like other survivors in the world and bandits, because the bandits are technically in the game files, but they're not active. So what they had done with them is they basically just added them in, and they just kind of wander around the world. The bandits obviously attack you, but it's kind of an interesting dynamic. Every now and then you see a player, or like another NPC instead of another zombie. It's kind of cool. It's a nice change of pace. I've seen other mods do more with the AI that's behind the NPCs than this one, but it was sufficient to, you know, have a nice little spice in the game. Horde Night difficulty is definitely incredible on this mod pack. So I'm going to use a little teleport here. I had set up ahead of time. So this is one of our failed Horde bases. We had it on the other side. We had built it and broke it, and we had to redo it again. What? Where? Those are water barrels? Why are there? Okay, well, that's just a graphical glitch or something. Anyway, so we ended up, this is actually a successful Horde base. Never mind the bars on the left side. I was wondering if it was worth slowing them down here or not. But the amount of zombies that can spawn, and then when you add in the demons that spawn, it changes the way that you handle Horde Nights, because they are so much more difficult and bullet spongy that you have to take care of that. You can't just have your junk turrets do all the work for you. You actually have to use your bullets. And usually that's, well, usually too expensive. And with this mod pack, it's not as expensive. Early on, well, somewhat early on, you can get a brass catcher. So there's a mod for your gun, and it catches 50% of the bullet casings as you shoot. Pretty great. You just need to find the recipe for it, and you can make it with some generic schematic pages and some leather and duct tape, and then you get half your brass back. And if you happen to have a security person on your team, you can get 100% of your bullet casings back, which is really significant because it really disrupts the balance where guns are expensive to shoot because brass, and they're no longer expensive to shoot because you just continually build up your brass stockpile because you never lose any brass unless you're weird and are shooting your gun with their full inventory. So it changes the dynamic of the resources in the game, which I don't think the advanced brass catcher should be in the game. I think the security upgrade should be the 50% of the brass, and I think that's more than enough. If anything, it should be like a 25 and 50, but that's a balancing thing. That's a separate thing. But it was a very interesting ad. It changed the way that we thought about Horde Nights. It wasn't just, well, junk turrets are cheap, we need to use those, so we built bases for those. With the health pools that these demons have, it really changed our design and our philosophy of how to handle Horde Nights. And there's demons and mutated zombies that are 4 blocks tall, so we had to build it quite a bit higher off the ground as well to keep them from climbing in. So that was a nice change. And then there's also new technology tiers. So there's also like titanium tools. There was also scrap tools like early on. So there's like a stepping stone between stone tools, scrap tools, iron, steel, and then titanium. And yeah, the quality can go above 60 or 6. They added another digit, but it's really the same system. It can go up to 8 technically, so I have a lot of stuff that's 80. I'll let you guys figure that out. Anyway, as time goes on, you can get your crafting skill up quite a bit, but I did like the different tiers of technology, And I really wanted to stay on the scrap tools longer because they were so cheap to repair before I went to an iron and started to have to burn duct tape for repair kits and stuff. Traders also are not protected. I just go to one here. They have protection, but they are not immune to damage anymore. So the traders can actually be invaded. Like this guy doesn't have a lot of guards left because we've been around for a while. So like this whole wall is unguarded. But they literally have trader guards, and if a zombie comes around here, they will light them up. So that was a really cool change. Like the trading posts are actually manned, and there's like additional quest givers, and he has like the medical supplies. But the thing about it is because they are not protected, you can break in, you can take their stuff, you can break their stuff, and it makes the place a little bit hard to deal with on a public server. Oh, are we collapsing? No. But another thing is the AI with this, look at him run away from me. We've run into some issues where the traders get too far away from their point, and then the game tries to spawn in another one. And if this guy's close enough, they do like a whole Highlander thing where there can only be one. But you can actually game the system and get a whole bunch of traders in here if you move them enough. So there's some exploitability there too with the mod. I think what they were trying to do was good and sound, but there's some errors made along the way. And then also some incomplete quest lines that really should lead you towards the final objectives. They don't quite get you there. But overall, I think the mod pack was really great. I had a lot of fun with it, and I look forward to seeing what they do to update the mod. But for now, I think I'm done with it, unless another group of my friends starts playing and I decide to go with them. But it was a really great playthrough. I appreciate what they did. If you guys are interested in starting this, download the 7 Days to Die mod launcher and try it out. It is quite a large mod pack. Just Google it, you'll find it. But I would highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. And I will be releasing a second video with tips and tricks and kind of a deep dive in on the classes to kind of explain what each of them does. So look for that. Thanks for watching. Check me out on Twitch.